Welcome to the first in a series of 3 videos on how to design your practice layout. Through these 3 videos, I'm going to show you how to place photos, how to place text, how to make space for mods, and then how to clean up all your margins. This is a good practice, but we want to keep in mind everything that we learned in the last couple days about visual hierarchy and apply all the same rules that we did on our paper layout to our computer layout here. So to start, you're in InDesign, you need to open the practice layout template. When you have those open, you're ready to begin. You should also open Google Chrome and get into your Google Drive and find the Accolade shared drive. I recommend bookmarking that on your Google Chrome. It'll make it easier to find throughout the entire year. You're going to go into the photo drive and you're going to click on this folder, Practice Layout Photos, and then click on the grid layout if you don't already have it on there so you can look at the photos in smaller view. These are photos that we picked from the men's soccer photos that we've taken so far. We're going to use these for our practice layout. So your first step is to look through all these photos to determine which ones out of these you want to use. You're probably going to be getting anywhere between 5 and 8 photos on the page. So choose those, and then most importantly, you need to choose your dominant photo because we'll design around that photo. So I've already looked through these and I've decided that I would like this photo to be my dominant. In your practice layout, you don't have to do the exact same photo as me. You do whatever photo you like the best, one that you think best represents the team. And so now that I know that that's going to be my dominant, I'm going to come over here into InDesign. Couple things to get you set up for success here. You're going to go to Window, Workspace, and then click Typography. That will make it so your toolbars and everything match what's on my screen here. It'll make it a lot easier for you to follow along with the tutorial. You also want to make sure you go to View, and right here, if it says Show Rulers, click that so you have rulers at the top and side of your screen. Okay. Now that we're set up, we're going to place our first photo. To access the photos for your spread, you're going to click over here on this icon that looks like a folder that says CC Libraries. That stands for Creative Cloud Libraries. You will learn later how to place photos in these libraries. Right now, Emma and I have already done that for you. And you're going to look for in this library the photo that you would like for your dominant photo. So mine's right here. Click on that photo, hold, and then bring it out to InDesign here. Let go of that mouse click and you'll see a little thumbnail like you see here, a little mini preview of the photo. Click on some empty space and it will place the photo on the screen for you. You might be thinking, why does it look glitchy? That is because InDesign they reduce the quality of the photo on the screen to make the program run faster. Trust me, this photo is not actually pixelated like this. I'll show you later how to view it in its full high quality version. Now that I have my photo on the page, I need to get it into position as a dominant photo. To do that, I need to do a couple things. I need to resize it and I need to crop it. To crop a photo in InDesign is super simple. You go to any of the points around the corners or the sides and you simply drag it in. So I'm going to crop out these 2 guys here, because this guy's cut off and he's a little cut off as well. That will make it fit a little better. So I'm going to just drag it in from there. To resize it now, because it's way too big, it's taking up almost my entire spread, I'm going to go from the corner. Make sure you're working from a corner here, not a side. And I'm going to hold on my keyboard Control and Shift. You have to do this. If you don't hold Control and Shift, you might end up stretching or skewing the photo and you'll have to redo everything. So hold Control and Shift, click on the corner and drag it in and it will resize it to scale. Play around with the size. As you start to build your layout, you can make this bigger or smaller. Remember that the dominant photo should be the largest element on the spread. So make it a size that's going to make it that dominant element to create that visual hierarchy. Now that I have it resized, I'm going to place it where I want to go. So one thing I'm noticing about this photo is that all of the guys are facing this way towards the left. When you have people in your photos facing one way, if possible, it's always best to position them so they're looking into the spread. So if I put this over here, they would be looking off the spread. That takes the reader's eye off the page. It instead makes sense to position it so that they're looking into the gutter. And he's our main guy, so he's the most important to get him in there. Remember, we cannot have faces cross the gutter. This is your gutter here between your two purple lines. And right now, it looks like Christian's face is getting cut off. So I'm going to position this across my gutter so that the gutter is where we have some space where there's no faces, kind of dead space in the photo. You can also put the photo just touching the gutter this way if you would like. Remember that the dominant photo should either cross or touch the gutter. If you can't get it perfectly there with your mouse, you can also use the arrows on your keyboard. So if you click on the left or right arrow on your keyboard, it will move it over just very slightly. If you hold shift while you do that, it'll move it over a little bit bigger. I do this all the time to better position my photos. It's more accurate than using your mouse. So I'm going to leave my photo there because this gives me lots of options. I've got my gutter right here, and I can position the rest of my photo package around it. Okay. Next step is to choose some of my other photos. Choose the ones from the Google Drive that you want, and then once you have those picked, find them over here, and you can, again, drag them and drop them onto your screen. Resize, and as necessary, crop. So maybe I want to cut off a tiny bit of the grass on the bottom here and maybe a tiny bit of the side. What you don't want to do when you're cropping is overcrop. He's really nicely positioned on a third, and I want to keep that because that's what makes this photo interesting. So I don't want to overcrop it to where he's just like this because it kind of takes away from the nice composition of the photo. So just be smart with your cropping. Remember that my other photos need to be significantly smaller than my dominant. So make it an appropriate size in relation to your dominant photo and play around with getting the rest of the photos positioned. As you do this, you need to remember that every photo will need to have a caption touching it and that you need a large space, a couple large spaces on the spread for your main headline, your main copy, and your mods. So just like you did on paper, you're applying those same rules here as you play around and try to get the photos into space. Do not worry about the margins quite yet. One thing that you should do is go up to your ruler and click on the ruler and hold your mouse. And when you do that, you then drag down a line. Bring that guide down to the bottom of your dominant photo. This is your eye line. We do not want to cross this eye line with any photos because this is what will move the reader visually across the spread. But you can put photos underneath it and above it, and we'll fix our margins on everything later on in the third video. So before you move on to the next video, get the remaining photos that you want on the spread on here and positioned around your dominant, knowing that you might have to make some changes later, and then you're ready to move on to placing your text.